Hi, and welcome to the Showbie and iPad personalised feedback and impactful learning presentation in association with Jamf. My name is Chris Lawson. I'm Assistant Head Teacher at a primary school, Parbold Douglas Church of England Academy. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how Showbie and Jamf work together in unison to ensure that equity is achieved for all pupils. And I'm going to talk about two distinct areas where that's the case. I'm going to start today by talking about breaking down the barriers in learning within the classroom and using iPad and Showbie and distribution with Jamf to really break down these barriers and make learning more impactful and more effective. We're going to take a look at rich annotations with some endless possibilities. Have a look at how Scan Document digitizes written work. Focus upon how voice notes support learning and how we can foster communication, which really matters within the classroom. So firstly, let's take a look at Showbie and its rich annotation tools. Here you can see a perfect example of some work where the child has got some text on the left hand side where they use a highlighter, and they're using an Apple Pencil, Logitech Crayon, Caligo Stylus on the left hand side to nurture and create a piece of work using annotations. They're able to use a pen tool of different thickness and different colour to really help bring their work to life. And this is just one example. With Showbie, the ability to annotate on PDFs, keynotes, Word documents, and many other platforms and file types means that children have the opportunity, and teachers, to really extend their reach into different file types and support their learning. Here we've got an example of a totally different feature where I'm actually scanning an example of a test. And here we can see the questions coming up and the teacher, myself, turning over the pages, and the Scan Document tool is taking an image and actually auto-cropping that image. It's then going to go into Showbie, and then we're going to add some individual feedback for those children once they have uploaded it. So here we can see those 7 images have been uploaded into Showbie, and now those rich annotation tools that I've just been talking about can be utilised and used along with pinned comments and also voice notes to really help and support those children as they move through questions that they're finding a little bit tricky. But it's also important that we are able to use Showbie to support children's learning. We're a one-to-one iPad classroom, and as a result we're able to utilise these iPads, but this doesn't mean that we do all our work on the iPads. Here we can see one of our pupils who's going to use the Scan Document feature this time to create an image of their work. They're going to take the image, use the cropping tool, which is inbuilt this time and has manual options, to crop the image nice and tightly, removing the previous day's work and just leaving the work that they need to upload today. This then will create an electronic copy for them to make amendments on, as we'll see here, but also for the teacher to be able to offer support and help through voice and other annotation tools, including pinned comments and text box tools. Another way which we use Showbie is in the use of voice notes. Here we can see voice notes being used to actually create a spelling test or to listen to a spelling test. These spelling tests have not been used or haven't been created in the last 4 or 5 years. They've been used 5 years, I think it is now, with different year groups. And the reason for that is that I created these voice notes once and then have just used the copy feature in Showbie to copy them to my new classes. It also means that children have access to a plethora of different spelling tests, meaning that at one time there can be 30 different spelling tests being taken by my 30 children in my class. And this has had a great impact on teaching and learning. But actually, This isn't all that we get from Showbie. This is an example of how Showbie can really start to foster and develop real personalised and important communication between student and teacher. Here's an example of a blob tree which we use in class where the children check in every day or every week. The blob tree helps children to articulate how they're feeling, and because I get a notification to my iPad, I know exactly if I need to catch up with them and discuss the situation, or if it's just something that they want to share with me. We also have communication boxes which help and support children to articulate things that they may be worried about, work that they may need help or support with. And most of all, it means that I am closer to those children in my class. I'm able to support them, know what makes them tick, know what they're finding tricky and difficult, and what they're enjoying in learning too. Well, that's one element of the classroom. The second element is impactful assessment and learning. It's really important within a classroom that feedback makes an impact, and even wider than the classroom. We're going to take a look at how Socrative integration can be used within quizzing, what question level analysis can be generated and the importance behind that, and meaningful reports. So here we have an example of feedback that's making an impact. We can see here that the child is taking an image and then they're able to utilize that image, draw on that image, and create perfect annotations over the top of that image using the Showbie annotation tools highlighted earlier. This is just one example which is wider and more, we could say, more out the box than your normal English and maths, but where iPad comes into its own, and Showbie. Another area is Socrative integration. Socrative integration is a fantastic way of supporting children to be able to assess where they are and work independently towards learning goals. Here we can see an example of a child completing one of the quizzes set by myself. We can see here a question level analysis that's generated as the student goes through. We can use this to select particular areas that need help. For example, further input is required on question 7. So, we can take a look at question 7, and we can see where the question's gone right and where the children have gone wrong. The majority of children who got this question incorrect didn't select D or selected B and E. We were able to discuss and talk about this live in the class. But what makes it more impactful is the fact that once the child has completed the quiz, or in this case has uploaded their work and completed the quiz, they get this rich text PDF. This PDF is fantastic for giving children the opportunity to re-reflect on their learning and note where the issues were. This is really useful to help children to take learning on themselves. Not always being driven by the teacher, but able to identify the areas that they need to improve on. And what's better is even if they find it tricky or difficult, or can't work it out, they can still ask the teacher for help using the comment tools. So these reports really do start to transform the way that assessment and feedback is seen within the classroom. And in this very short presentation, I've just shown you a very slight taster of the great work that Showbie can do when distributed via Jamf to really break down barriers in learning, using annotations with endless possibilities, scanning documents and digitizing written work, using voice notes to support learning, and communication with children that matters. And also how we can use it for impactful assessment and learning, with feedback that makes a difference outside of English and maths, with quizzing and Socrative integrations, how teachers can utilise the question level analysis to really make a difference and pinpoint the areas that the children need work with, and lastly, how we can use meaningful reports to really make a difference. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on social media at Mr_L_Edu. Thank you.